Hi, good morning. Welcome to the follow-up most pre-bid meeting. My name is Maria Juarez-Stouffer. I am the Chief Program Officer at CSC. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully this is going to be a very helpful pre-bid to you in the development of your budget. I'm going to turn it over to Ileana to start the budget section of the pre-bid.
Good morning to all of you. Welcome to our presentation. Let me go ahead and start sharing. Yeah. Right. Good morning and welcome. How to prepare your budgets required for the most RFP 2022. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me move this little bar out of my way. Here we go. The RFP opens up for applicants that would like to run year-round programs and those who run summer-only programs. It is important to recognize that the year-round and summer-only applicants will need different types of budgets. Let's get started with the year-round requirements for those applying to the most inclusion and most special needs round program. The initial term of service will be from August 21st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. For applicants that are not currently funded by CSC, a June 1st, 2022 startup date may be considered. Contracts will be awarded and contracts awarded will be eligible for 3 renewal periods ending in 2026. The most inclusion and most special needs year-round applicants will need to prepare 2 separate budgets, the school year budget and a summer budget. The school year budget will comprise of 10 months and will include 174 after-school service days, 6 early release service days, and a minimum of 8 non-school days. This means that you may certainly propose additional non-school days in your proposal. The summertime budget will include 2 months out of the year and will include a minimum of 38 service days. Again, your program may choose to run additional days, but this is a minimum requirement. For those applying to the most inclusion and most special needs summer-only programs, the initial term of service is from April 1st to August 31st, 2023. This extend period, which is the month of April, as you can see, because the budget starts on May, will allow for summer-only staff to be trained in PBL inclusion supports or behavior management. The contracts awarded will be eligible for 3 additional renewal periods ending in the year 2026. The most inclusion and most special needs summer-only applicants will need to prepare 1 budget. This budget will comprise of 3.5 months, beginning in the month of May to August 19th, 2023. Remember, you do have the option, if you're a first-time applicant, to start in the month of April. Catch Kids Club and Inclusion Supports applicants also have an initial term of August 1st, 2022 through September 20th, 23. The contracts will also be eligible for renewal periods of up to 3 years ending in 2026. These applicants will be required 2 budgets, a startup non-recurring period starting with August 1st, 22nd through September 30th. That's a 2-month budget. And then we'll run onto our annual budgets of October 1st through September 20th, 2023. Let's look at some of the minimum wages requirements set by CSC. Salaried staff members and allocation. Our salaried staff members will need to make no less than $31,200. That equals to $15 an hour times 2,080 hours, which is a full-time staff member. An hourly or part-time staff member we have a $15 minimum requirement. Again, for all of your part-time folks, you will be using the days as service days to drive the total wages for the part-timers. Let's think about program structure and the budget. First, think of your program position titles, the name of staff if you already have them hired, pay rates considered, and time of allocation to the program. Another thought should be what employer's costs your agency currently covers. In this section, you may include retirement, health insurance premiums, worker compensation, and reemployment compensation rates. Please consider which of those your agency currently covers, and you are looking for the ER portion, which is the employer part of the cost. Considerations should be pre-made on which expense accounts you would like to include. If there would be traveling, you may consider mileage. If there's any rent and utilities, you may consider allocating some of the costs to the budget. Program supplies, value added, and school fees. Our contracts require a 5% minimum match of the proposed amount. That's just your skin in the game with us. Please include that at the end of your budget. You will see the section in the budget form for that. And as always, refer to the CSC provider budget guidelines for the details on what's to be included in each of the accounts. Here's some additional items to consider as you begin to build your budget structure. Your staffing pattern must meet ratio requirements. The staffing pattern on the part-time folks must also align with the days and hours of operations. If your program doesn't operate 8 hours per day, then you should not be budgeting for 8 hours per day for the part-time staff. Teachers are staffed at a minimum of 4 hours per week during the school year. That's one teacher, 1 hour per day. And during the summertime, it's 2 hours per day plus 1 hour of planning, which equals 12 per week. CSC will cover a campus monitor for those who run on school sites only. Part-time staff can include reimbursement for training hours, especially if they are attending CSC required trainings. Let's go into a little bit detail on the expense line items. Items to consider as you begin to think about the budget you're building. Local and out-of-town travel, you'll need the rate per mile and the approximate number of miles traveled per month. For contractual services, the CSC budget should reflect the amounts set by your subcontract. This could be an hourly rate or a per consultation rate. Space and utility, if you plan to include rent, utilities, and janitorial cost, our guideline limits you to $22 per square foot. If you are only charging for rent expense, you are limited to $14 per square feet. The guidelines will explain this in details to you. In account 1600, expenses and supplies, cost for snacks, background screening, your DCF and childcare licensing, office consumables, and program supplies should be considered. There are strict guidelines on what we can include in these accounts, so please always refer back to the budget guidelines. Value added is very important for all of our budgets. These are creative program enhancements that support your program goals and participation. In this section is where you will include all of your cultural arts and enrichment activities, all your field trips, transportation, family engagements, music therapy for special needs only will also be included in value added. I ask you to consider the method of calculations to reflect the actual cost. Activities and field trips such as admission may be stated per child. Bus contracting should be stated per trip. or a monthly expense per month or per occurrence. So there are many different types of cost of allocation that you may, methods of calculation that you may consider when preparing for the value added section. 8045 is out of school time fees. These only belong to those who run on school sites. In the RFP, you can find all of the details to what is currently being proposed by the before and after school childcare and the School of Broward County. Please ensure that you budget for these properly. 8030 will comprise of transportation to and from the program. It should be stated as a rate per mile and approximate number of miles traveled per day or per month. 8050 will include costs associated with attending conferences or seminars. That's air, travel, hotel, no wages. For those new to our funding, startup supplies may be needed. Those will be included in the startup section. Last but not least, administrative cost. Administrative cost is overhead that relates to the day-to-day operations of your agency. It pertains to operational expenses rather than those that are directly related to the provision of services. You may request up to 12% of direct service cost as the administrative cost total in our budget. They must be itemized and include a description in the method of calculation. These costs cover financial audits, accounting services, professional liability insurance, business licenses, administrative personnel, and technology. Reflect back into your financial statements and what's included in the general and administrative breakout section. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn over to program services for questions. We do have sample budgets if you would need to see those.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our secondary pre-bid to go over the budget elements with you. My name is Jessica Rincon. I'm a programs manager. Also on this call is Liza Khan. She is our senior programs manager, and Meg Wallace, who is our assistant director of program services overseeing this procurement. So now is your chance to ask any questions you may have.
Good morning. This is Candace with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Broward County. I have a question about the matching contribution for year round. Since we have to do, a summer and a school year budget for year round, do we need to put in the budget a matching contribution on each budget for school? Okay, I saw your head is shaking. Okay, and then I have one last question. For the financial viability, if we're year round and we're doing school and summer only, were we supposed to upload our audited financials to summer only RFP as well as the year round RFP?
You should have uploaded financials for all the applications that you were being considered.
Okay.
Let me just clarify. So you're asking if you uploaded financials under one application, if you would like to apply for one of the others, would you have to have already uploaded? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's the same,
So no,
it's the same information.
Yeah, if you uploaded for one of the 6 applications, then you don't have to upload it for the others. You would be able to apply for the others without uploading again.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. See a hand up, Tanya. Tanya Ricker, would you like to ask your question? Okay. Elizabeth, do you have a question?
DJ, I think that's your question. You're logged in under my name.
Oh, I didn't know. I have a question about the CPR training. I want to know if that's covered under there, and before we had it capped off, but since everyone is required, should we like change it in the budget with that training?
I just need you to ask that question again. So are you asking if you should include CPR training in the budget?
Yes, we have it in the budget now, but I know it was capped off like to 10 training per position. So I don't know if now we can open it up to more since everyone is required for CPR training.
Meg, do you want to take that question or should we answer in writing?
Well, I just wanted to say that what you decide to put in your budget is really up to you. We're not going to tell you, or, we don't, whatever you do and whatever you decide to do and how many people to put in, that's going to be totally up to you.
Hi, this is Elaine Vaughn from ARC Broward. I looked through the RFP, but I did not locate a template form to prepare the budget. Is there one within the RFP, or are we to use the existing budget template that we used for the most recent submission?
Your current budget template that you are using already is perfectly appropriate, but for anybody that is looking, there is a budget template included as an attachment with the RFP. As well as the budget guidelines that Ileana had mentioned in her presentation, that's also included, as well as the transportation guidelines. So you will find all of that in the RFP attachment.
Got it. And will you also be sending out this PowerPoint presentation to everyone who's participated today?
It will be posted in the CAP system when we post the Q&A document, which I believe is November 30th. So on that day, we'll post the Q&A document, and we'll also post the PowerPoint and the recording of this pre-bid today.
Thank you.
Just for more clarification, it's attachment 21 in the RFP, the template form that you're.
Attachment 21. Got it.
I see more hands, but feel free to speak out.
Hi, Jessica, it's Tanya. Sorry, my computer would not unmute or do anything, so I had to go in on my phone. We're having difficulty with the W-9. I don't know if that's something we need to contact the help desk where it's uploaded, but in CAPS, it's still telling us that it's not, but we see it and it won't let us move on past that.
So let me just clarify, you downloaded the W-9, you completed it, and when you go to the section to upload it, it's not letting you upload it, or it's letting you upload it?
But it's still giving us an error message saying that it's not there, but we can see it there.
Yes, please contact the help desk.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. This is Rachel Taylor with Firewall Centers. I have 2 questions. So we're new to most. Do we qualify for extra month of the early startup?
Yes, because you're new, you will prepare those startup expenses and a startup budget that you saw in the presentation.
Okay. Also, my second question, this is kind of more of a technical question of the actual Excel spreadsheet. So, as you can imagine, let's say we're applying for multiple sites. The summary page is going to be really long, like for staffing, for example, because, everything will link. So, for example, let's say we have several counselors, several teachers, all of that is going to be in the summary page as well. So it's going to be like a long drop down, just confirming it's not going to be, it's not like, I don't know how to explain it. It's not going to link just one, it's going to link all of it, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just confirming because it's like, I have like 30 positions and it's super long in the front.
I understand it looks alarming when you're looking at that summary page and you see all the staff, but we do have some other larger programs, so we know to expect that with your budget.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that I was doing it right. So then, and then like every single site, like AA, BB, CC is all going to be in the front, like horizontally, and the positions vertically.
Correct.
Okay. It was very technical. That was my other question. Thank you.
Rachel, the budget form allows for 400 positions. So
Yeah, I
just
saw
apply.
that. I saw, yeah, I unhid like all of them so that I can work with it. So far I'm at like 81. I'm on line 81 so far. So I just wanted to make sure I'm doing it right. So thank you so much. Hi, Ileana.
Any other questions? You can go ahead and speak out. That way I don't call on the wrong person when we're raising hands.
Okay, I have a question about the staff travel. I'm not exactly sure if I saw it to be included in the budget, but besides like traveling between school to school, I'm not exactly sure if whatever else it covers for that section.
That is, so I just want to refer you to the budget guidelines, and that will explain what should be included in that section. But I think we can provide more clarification in writing if you have a specific ask about transportation, like what you're actually looking for other than staff travel.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? It's okay if you don't have any.
I would just like to also point out that the transportation guidelines are one of the attachments in the RFP.
Thank you, Meg.
Good morning. I just clarify with the team, there will not be a written question and answer period following this session, correct? Okay. So I just want to make clear to the group that this is your one and only opportunity to ask any questions. So I'm encouraging any questions, how big, small, you put them out now. Feel free to use the chat to put your questions if you don't feel comfortable saying it out loud. But this is your one and only opportunity to ask questions.
Hi there. I tried to chat in, but it says chat disabled.
The chat is disabled.
Oh, I do apologize.
That's okay. All right, so I have kind of a long-winded question here. So if our services is a supplemental service that uses technology, in the budget form, are we to assume that the school sites will provide students with access to an iPad or technology of some sort? And then we just put like the subscription cost in it?
So I think what you're asking is, will the schools allow you to use their technology?
Yes.
I'm not sure that's a question we can answer. So my recommendation would be to include the technology in your budget, what you're looking for specifically, if it's iPads.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So like the cost of an iPad per student in addition to the subscription cost for the program.
And let me just chime in here. I'm hoping that you have a relationship with whatever school site you're planning to provide services at, and that you will talk to the principal and let them know what services you're planning to provide and obtain the principal's support of those services so that they make available to you whatever technology you need to implement that program. So understandably, we cannot purchase, let's say if you have, if you want to serve 100 kids and you want us to purchase 100 computers, that's not something that CSC would be able to do. We have been able to purchase a very small number of laptops or iPads, but not for every child in the program. And what we expect is that there is that relationship with the principal and the school site that they would allow you to have access to their technology so that we can work collaboratively with them in an after-school setting.
Okay, and to follow up on that, Maria, can we also ask the principal if some of the school staff would be willing to deliver the programs, or does it only have to be from our end?
So you're asking, can the school staff be hired to work in the after-school program?
Exactly.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
And that would be between the after-school program, you know, and the school staff that accept that additional job.
Okay, and in our proposal, we can include that when we hire the staff, they're coming from a particular school to serve students in that particular site.
Yeah, so they would finish with their responsibilities. And I'm just gonna say, you know, if it's school board of Broward County employee, they would finish with their work that is being paid for by the school board. So their work would have to end, their day would have to end. And then after hours, they could be employed by your agency.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, good morning. Alice Bird. I'm from the YMCA of South Florida. I just wanted to verify when it comes to and please excuse my ignorance if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing where there are two changes. One being the original RFP document identifying 180 days of after school, and now it has been transitioned to 174 days. Is that correct?
I can
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the 180 days encompass the 174 after-school days and the 8 non-school days.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
And the early release days. So
I'm sorry, it's 174 after-school days, 6 early release days.
Okay.
That's the 180 days that we're looking at for after school.
I feel better. Now it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so Alice, it is consistent for folks that have never applied for funding under most. We wanted them to understand there's 174 after school, there's 6 early release. So when you have early release days, you need to budget more time for those part-time staff versus the after school day.
Thank you. My follow-up question, please, would be in regards to there now being a 10-month budget and a 2-month budget. My question comes in when it comes to our current providers. If heaven makes it that some of us are successful in this RFP, will there be somewhat of a negotiation period or liaison period so that there will be no gaps in services?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Will this recording be made available after the meeting?
Yes, it will
I
be.
appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I have a question.
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Can I just want to clarify? I'm sorry I missed the first part. I was having internet issues, but just want to make sure what I just heard, this previous question. For this RFP submitting a budget for a year-round application, it is a 1 12-month budget and 1 summer budget if we are a year-round for the RFP submission.
For the RFP submission, what we're looking for is a 10-month budget that includes the school year, and then a 2-month budget that includes summer. Because some of the programs, your program changes in the school year and summer. So we want to encapsulate those changes in 2 separate budgets. So it is different for you.
I just want to confirm, I guess typically in a 1-year period does include 2 months of summer. So 10 months is the after school period that includes the 180 days.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I was just thinking 12 months is a school year. No, 12 months is a year. 10 for the after school budget, 2 for the summer. That's 12. Okay, my bad. Thank you.
Got it, Gary.
I've done this too many times to know better. Thank you.
And we change it every time, so don't worry. We understand.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I have a question, just want a clarification. For the historically, we had to, at one point, had to do a 29-day budget for continuation with most. So is that not the case? It's still the school year, 180 days, and the 2 months. I just want to make sure I'm still understanding that. So it's not August 1st, that's 29 days period. It's just school year and then summer, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to verify.
Any other questions?
Hi, I have a comment. Sorry. This is my first year actually, like after school programs, we've been like with the we've already had contract, but this will be my first year actually starting up a contract because I've transitioned from another position. So if I did, I know you said no questions after this, but after I go over everything, I may have something. Will I just speak to my program manager if I do have questions? Just to clarify.
So no, we're under a cone of silence because this is an advertised competitive procurement. And this is your opportunity to ask the questions once this pre-bid conference ends. We don't have an open Q&A period for this pre-bid conference. So once this ends, there won't be any questions we can answer. If you have technical issues with the CAP system, as Tanya described earlier with the W-9 form, then that would be a help desk ticket that you would be able to submit for technical issues. But questions regarding the budget, et cetera, would have to be asked at this time.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify one more eligibility requirement. So for the after-school program, the program has to be in person. We have to provide a snack and educational activities and have a teacher to deliver the program, correct? We have to meet all 4 criteria.
Yes, and those requirements are listed out based on what program you're proposing for, whether it's school year or summer only. It's in the RFP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Crickets. Are there any other questions before we conclude our second budget-based pre-bid? Okay, I think we can take that as a no.
So as Tricia previously mentioned, this recording will be available. We have, Tricia, what's the date again for posting of the Q&A?
November 30th.
Okay, so November 30th. So by November 30th, we will post the Q&A document from this session. And just so y'all understand what we do review our answers. And if there's additional information that would help you, we will add it to the Q&A document. The Q&A document basically supersedes this Zoom recording. So I strongly encourage everyone to look at that Q&A document. We've noticed in the past, not everyone is accessing those documents. So I think they can be really helpful to you. So by November 30th, we're gonna post the Q&A for this pre-bid, and we'll post the Zoom video for this pre-bid and then the PowerPoint presentation as well. Yes, Andy?
I'm sorry, just one more question. I know everybody wants to go. On the startup budget, what are we allowed to put in the startup budget? Because I mean, there's going to be curriculum things, there's going to be all kinds of things you're going to put in your regular budget, but because it would be our first most year, is there some specifics that we're allowed or not allowed to put in that budget?
So I will, I'll turn it over to our fiscal department to give more detail, or to Jessica and Liza. I'll say startup is one-time funding.
Right, correct.
So that is something to keep in mind. And I don't know, Jessica and Liza, if you guys, or Meg, if you want to add any details for what is generally included in the startup budget?
Well, you have to think about something like Maria said, that's non-recurring, because, you know, it's a separate budget, right? So whatever you put in there, you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to need this again in the next 3 years. That's why it's going in here. So your curriculum, you know, that should last you, although you may need to put some bits and pieces with it that might get damaged over the time. And really, you just have to think like that. I mean, there are some suggestions in our guidelines. Jessica, do you have the guidelines right there, like what they say for startup?
So in the provider budget guidelines, it lists out what you would input into the budget in terms of startup salaries, startup expenses. As for the specific expenses, like Meg mentioned, you're thinking curriculum, you're thinking anything that you need to get the program started. The provider budget guidelines really do go into better detail than I am comfortable going into detail in this meeting, but we can provide more clarification in writing for sure. If there's anything specific you're thinking about that may be appropriate, it might be a good time to ask it now.
I'm just thinking if you're going to need
running, then
right. If you're just getting like a few tablets, not for everybody, but you're getting a few tablets that will last a while. If you're getting obviously curriculum, if you're buying that, if you know, workbooks not workbooks, we wouldn't be doing workbooks. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, you know, with the licensing, you're going to be required to buy puzzles and those kind of things, games, and they're going to stick around for a while. Are those are all legitimate startup budget stuff?
I would say, in your mind, think of it as the startup items that I need. These are non-recurring items. So if it is recurring, include that as an expense.
Got it.
And if it's non-recurring, include it as startup.
Got it. Okay. We'll figure it out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry to extend your time.
Are there any other questions before we end the pre-bid?
Maria, I think I know this answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Since we are not new, but we've expanded our programs and having, you know, bigger, larger kids, not just preschool, you know, can we put in the budget for, you know, furniture in a sense, tables and chairs that they could actually, you know, fit in, because ours are very small and they're, you know, we're getting, you know, serving larger children, so to speak. So I just want to know if that would be appropriate, and if so, where?
Yes, that would be appropriate. And as to where in the budget,
if it costs over $1,500, Maria, then
I'm sorry, repeat that, Kathleen.
If it costs over $1,500, it would be on the capital line.
And that's per item though, right?
Per item.
So that would be, I think that would be unusual. So if it's under $1,500, what area in the budget would it be, would like a desk chair go in?
We usually do not cover, but because of that specific circumstance that she mentioned, you could put that in the startup supplies.
Okay. Are there any other questions before we close the pre-bid? No? Okay. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, and we will post the information that we discussed by November 30th on the CAPS website. So please go to the CAPS website to get that information. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.